Hello? Hello? Mom? Hello?
Are
Hello?
you there?
Yeah. Oh, do you hear me?
Yep. Can you see me?
No, I can't see you for some reason. Can hear
Hmm.
you. I don't get what's going on.
It is my hearing aids because this is coming through my hearing aids.
Well, maybe. I mean,
I can hear you. Do you care if you see us?
uh, it'd be nice to see you, but I guess hearing is what we're after here.
Oh, just a minute. Maybe I can do that. I just got something else going here.
Yeah,
Okay, you can hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I just can't see you for some reason. Do you have the video turned on? Oh, I just saw you for a second there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
here we are.
hi. There you are. Hello, Aunt Katie.
See, there's Ordy, and there you are. He can see you.
Well, I don't know that I can see you, or
Yeah, down right here.
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
Okay. Okay, Grandma isn't. Aunt Katie isn't seeing too well.
Okay. Well,
She needs. We have to get her some different glasses.
I look exactly like I'm 20 years old. Just nothing's changed.
What did he say?
He said he looks like he's 20 years old, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
That's good, good.
Just I haven't changed at all in
I
25
can't
years.
hear you or I can't see you.
Okay. So,
Okay.
Aunt Katie,
All right, if you want to ask me some questions about living on the farm as a young girl, you can.
And
yeah,
I'll repeat it to you.
All right.
okay. So, when were you born?
When were you born?
I was born in 1928, September 22nd.
Wow. And I asked your sister this. What's the first thing you
And
remember?
I was born in the living room of our home.
Wow.
My mother did not go to the hospital to have me.
Neat, neat. So, when you were born, there would have been no electricity on the farm yet, right?
We didn't have electricity yet in the house, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, your kid sister was saying the day she was born was when was the day that they got electricity.
The day I was born, that's the day that they got electricity on the house, right?
I'll be darned. Are you talking about you yourself?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Yeah. So your sister was kind of spoiled.
So I was kind of spoiled.
Yes.
How do you think? Why do you think I was spoiled? What did I do that made you think I was spoiled?
Are you talking about to me?
Yeah.
Well, you just were. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't either, because I wasn't really expected.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
Right? Exactly.
so what was it like without electricity? How did you
And
warm
I
the house?
went to a country school.
Just a minute. He
Let's,
said,
let's
how
go.
did.
Just let her go on with it. The country school?
Okay. Yeah, go on about the country school. What was that like?
Well, I went to a country school and it was just one room. And there were probably about, I would say 20 kids that went there.
How did you get there?
Well, my brother and I had a pony, and its name was Bessie. And Martin would sit up front and guide the pony, and I would have to sit on the back on the hump of the pony. And I would have to hang on to him because the pony would trot, of course, and it would go pretty fast. And then when we got to school, we would tie it to a fence, and that poor pony had to stand there all day while we went to school.
So
And-
how far was it to school?
2.5 miles.
Oh, that's not too bad. I thought it was farther.
No, it was 2.5 miles to school.
And you went that way summer and winter, huh?
Uh-huh. And there were people there by the name of the Caseys, the Swetzes, Tommy Lambert, and I kind of had a crush on him. And the teacher, I don't even remember what her name was anymore. But anyway, that was our education.
Until the 8th grade?
Uh-huh. Until the 8th grade, and then I went to city school and graduated from the Schuyler High School.
And did you go back and forth on a school bus every day? Or how did you go to school?
No, there were some guys that went to school also, so they would stop for me. And they were 2 guys, and their last name was Falken, Folken. And I was trying to remember their first names, but right at the moment I can't remember their names.
Okay, I'm gonna put this down for a second so I can plug it in. Just a minute.
Sure.
Okay. There we go.
Hi. And Aunt Katie, the country school, are these kids different ages? Okay, I can't hear anything, Mom. Mom? You're muted for some reason. Yeah, Mom, you're muted. I can't hear anything. Yeah, I
Okay,
can't
now
hear
you-
anything.
Now can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So she
Sorry.
was just saying that there were quite a few kids in that country school. And what did you ask me?
I was just asking, were these kids different ages at the country school?
Were these kids different ages at the country school?
Yes, they were all the grades up to the 8th grade.
But there would be how many kids in a class? 1 or 2?
Yeah,
So there'd be 1 or 2 kids in the class.
and if I remember correctly, the teacher's name was Miss Wolf,
Okay.
WOLF.
Yeah. Sounds German.
Yeah, probably was.
Yeah.
We had a lot of Germans for a while until the Second World War, and then apparently we chased them out of Schuyler. According to Dick Konichek, my cousin.
Yeah. And so your teacher must have had a hard job because she has kids from like ages 7.
And Gordy,
about-
I had to help milk the cows.
Well, just a minute. He
Oh,
said,
that's okay. Well, I was just
What was-
asking, your teacher must have been busy because you had kids from 7 to about,
Right.
14 or
your teacher must have been busy because she had kids all ages from 7
Uh-huh.
to 14.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Did you learn a lot from the upper grades?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
because I would be able to hear.
Yeah.
They were, the classes would be open.
So when you got to high school, it's probably pretty easy, huh?
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
it was.
Yeah. And is this just rows facing a
And
chalkboard?
or you would probably want to know, I was
Yeah.
a cheerleader in high school.
Yeah,
Yes, she was very popular in high school.
I bet. All the boys chasing you.
Yeah, probably. She was very pretty.
Yeah,
Well, she still is very pretty.
absolutely. So who did you cheer for? Basketball, football?
Don't put that in the report.
Who did you cheer for? Basketball or football or what?
All three of them.
Yeah,
Basketball, football, and what?
baseball.
I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. And you were saying you had to milk the cows?
You said you were milking cows?
Yeah, I had to milk cows when I was a young lady. 40.
I have to tell you a story about that, though. She said that the reason she had to milk cows was all her fault. Once upon a time, she told me this story. She said she was wanting to go to town. It was Saturday, and she was wanting to go to town. And Daddy said, "Well, we can't go until we milk the cows." So that delayed them like 2 hours. Like they start at 5 o'clock and finish at 7 o'clock, and then they go to town. And she wanted to go to town pretty badly and get there and see all her friends and stuff. So she said, "Well, why don't Martin and I help you?" And he said, Daddy said, "That's a good idea." And from that point forward, they had to help him milk the cows. So it was really her fault that she had to milk the cows.
Yeah, that was a bunch of crap.
So
Anyway, that's what she told me a long time ago.
what did you do when you went to town, Aunt Katie?
What did you do when you went to town on Saturday?
Oh, I just really not until I was older.
Like in high school?
Right,
And you
So-
could drive by that time, huh?
right.
Okay.
So sorry, I didn't hear that. What was
Hi,
that?
Mort. This is Jane. I love your interviews.
Well, thank you, Jane. It's good to hear from
Come
you.
over here and talk to us,
Jane's over
Jane.
there somewhere.
Okay.
Hi, Mort.
Hi, Jane. Well, we're
So anyway,
You look great.
Thank you.
we generally, when I was in high school, Saturday night. I mean, that was the thing we did in Schuyler when I was a kid. Was on Saturday night you'd go to the dance at the Oak Ballroom.
yeah.
But Katie was saying that they, kind of the stores stayed open on Saturday because that was
Sorry, Mom. You
all
keep
that kind of stuff.
okay. You keep breaking
Okay.
up, Mom. I'm not sure why that is. Can you hear me?
I'm not
okay?
sure either.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, they don't want to hear me, but so
Well, what did you miss?
just what, I think I got the gist of it, what you guys did when you went to town.
Okay.
Katie, did you have any boyfriends in high school?
Did you have a boyfriend in high school?
Well, of course.
Of course.
His name was Bernard Heinzen.
What did Daddy call him?
I don't remember, do you?
No, something face. I don't remember what it was. Grandpa used to not call him Bernard.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
And
made up a name.
Probably shit face.
yeah. So what was that like? Did Bernard come to the house and pick you up, or did you have to go into town, or?
Did he pick you up or did you have to go to town?
Oh no, I had to go to town. He did pick me up.
Okay.
That my folks would allow that.
And
Yeah, how old were you before you could go on a date?
Oh, probably 16 at least.
There you go.
and where did you guys go? Did you go to movies or what?
Did you go to movies or what?
Yeah, probably just movies, or like your mother said, to the dance.
Yeah. And this was
The
the
dance, the dances were usually sponsored by somebody who got married, except for a few really well-known names like Jan Garber and Lawrence Welk. They'd come through Schuyler. Schuyler's ballroom is actually in the historic records now. It was built by the WPA during the
Yeah.
Depression. And it's a fantastic ballroom. The pillars that hold up the roof are oak trees.
Yeah.
and they're left in their original form. And it's a beautiful place, but that would be a thing that we do every Saturday night. Usually the band was paid for by a couple who got married
Yeah.
that day, and we would dance till like 1 o'clock in the morning and then go home.
Wow. Party.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the
Every Saturday night.
the WPA also built that swimming pool, right?
Yes, Olympic sized swimming pool and a wonderful golf course. All three of them were very, very well appreciated.
And that was that the swimming pool that I used when I was a kid when we used to visit that same one?
Yep. That's
Wow.
what it was.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm guessing back then pretty much everyone in Schuyler was a Democrat.
Yeah, we were well known for being Democrats. We're not anymore.
No,
Nebraska is a pretty Republican state now.
Yeah.
But yes, we were. And, one of the reasons for that was because of the farmers. And it was a highly populated farming area. All the big cities were not very big. Omaha, Lincoln, and Grand Island were not very big. Where I was born, it was the last hospital from Omaha, Nebraska, or Columbus, Nebraska, where I was born. It was the last hospital until you got to Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
So the Mormons who came along that trail really had it tough because they didn't
Yeah.
have any medical care until they got to Salt Lake City.
Yeah. So Aunt Katie, you were born in the house. So
Yes,
go ahead. Just
go ahead.
So did your mom have a midwife, or how did that work?
How did that work when Mom gave birth to you? Did she have a midwife there, or did the doctor come out, or did she deliver it herself, or what?
I think Grandpa delivered me.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow, very different.
Yeah, it certainly was.
And when you went into town, though, so you said you and Uncle Martin rode a horse to school, but later you took a car when you went into town, like on Saturday?
Yep, we did.
Yeah. And what kind of car do you remember having, Aunt Katie?
What kind of car did you have when you were young?
We had a Model A Ford.
Nice.
Yep. And then Daddy, after that, when cars got to be better, he always drove a Buick.
Cool.
I have no idea why, but he thought that was the best car available. He was riding with a guy. They were coming home from a dance. I remember one time he told this story. They were coming home from a dance and they hit some gravel or something, and the car turned over, and the driver was killed. And he got away with not being killed. He wasn't hurt even, but they flew out of the Model A and got hurt pretty badly.
Wow.
Yeah. They were new, they drove when they first got married. I believe Grandma told me they had a horse and buggy. They did not have a car yet.
Yeah. And Katie, what did you do for fun at home? Did you listen to the radio, or what did you do? Like,
he wants to know what you did for fun at home. Did you listen to the radio or what?
Yeah, that was about it. Or we just listened to the radio. We had a nice, you'd call it a cabinet radio, I guess. It stood up off the floor. It was about 4 or 5 feet tall. Wow. And we would just listen to that.
They had big speakers in those radios, and Grandpa listened to that every day at noon to get the farm news, to know when he should take his cattle to town and sell it.
Yeah.
And when he should sell his wheat and corn and things like that. So that's how he kept up with the market.
Yeah.
So every day at noon, we'd listen to the radio, whether we wanted to or not.
Yeah, we didn't have television yet.
No, yeah. What did you like to listen to, Aunt Katie?
What did you like to listen to?
On the radio?
Yeah.
Well, mostly music, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't remember nothing special.
Yeah. Cool. And so without electricity, did you have to use kerosene lamps everywhere? Or how did you see?
Without electricity, did you have kerosene lamps everywhere?
Right, exactly.
Because that was the only way to see?
Right, that was the only way to see.
Did you burn candles as well?
Probably.
Yeah. And how did you cook? Did you still have that wooden stove, that wood stove?
Did we have a wood stove?
Yes, we had they used to call them cooking stoves, and we would burn cobs in them, or
Cobs or whatever else you could burn, we could chop down a tree probably, but
Mm.
after harvest, you always burned all the cobs.
Mm. So you had to milk the cows. What else did you have to do on the farm?
What else did you have to do on the farm besides milk cows?
well, or oftentimes when we had harvest time, the men would be out there. They would bale the wheat or
Hay.
hay and all of that, and we'd have to take them lunch because they would be hungry. They would be working so hard. So we would have to take them lunch out there to the field.
Did you have to feed any cattle?
No, I didn't ever have to.
Did Martin?
Martin probably did, yes.
And what about the chickens? You had to pick eggs, right?
I did have to pick eggs. Uh-huh. And mom would, my mother, and your mom's mom, her name was Clara, she would always get about 500 baby chickens, and she would just raise them. They were just very tiny when she bought them. And we had what we called a chicken coop, and they would be in there, and then it had a little door on it, and we would lift that little door and they would come out, and oh, the chickens would just love it because they could pick in the grass and eat all kinds of stones and what have you.
So did mom sell the chickens then? Did she butcher them and sell them?
Yeah, she would sell them to people in town that would like, when they grew up and got bigger, of course, like about 4 pounds.
And that would be what, in the fall?
Well, about when they got bigger.
Okay.
Yeah. And
What
did
else do you want to know, Ort?
Oh, everything. What did you eat at dinner? What was a typical dinner like out there on the farm?
What was a typical dinner like on the farm?
A typical dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Well, mashed potatoes
Nice.
and just a typical vegetable of some sort. Green beans, probably.
And corn, sweet corn.
Or sweet corn, yes. And whenever we grew the sweet corn, and we would pick that and we would eat that off of the cob. Oh, and it was so delicious.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Now, what would we have for a typical Sunday afternoon meal?
Oh, I don't know. You should remember that too.
Well, I remember duck and sauerkraut a lot.
The what?
Duck and sauerkraut.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
That was one of the kind of a main.
And of course, we'd have roast beef and
chicken, of course.
Chicken, and we had pork as well. And we would make sausages. I don't know if you remember the sausages that we ate, Morty, but Mom used to make this delicious sausage from the pig. They had this old saying that they said, when you butchered a pig, the only thing that was wasted was the squeal.
Yeah, yeah.
So we used everything. We used everything down to the head and its contents for the sausage, and then the rest of it was, pork chops and stuff like that.
So yeah, I'm getting hungry now.
And Orly, we had a freezer in town. There was a place that had freezers, and we would take that butchered meat, which we wrapped up in nice wax paper, and we would take it to town and put it in that freezer. And then we would always have to stop there and get that frozen meat and take it home.
Yeah, we didn't have a freezer in the house at that point in time. Yeah. Nobody did. It wasn't just the farmers, but we also needed a big freezer because when you butchered a cow, you had to have a lot of space to put it in.
Yeah. So when you went into town on Saturday or Sunday, you would pick up a steak and go back home, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you had to make a special trip to get some meat for the
Yeah.
week, and we'd put it in the refrigerator and it would stay frozen quite a while. But yeah, and we butchered our own, so we had to go get it ourselves. We couldn't go to the butcher shop and get it.
Wow, neat. Sounds delicious
It-
though.
Yep, it was delicious. Grandpa and grandma knew how to raise meat,
Yeah,
cows, pigs, and chickens.
yeah.
They knew what to feed them. They did research on that kind of thing, and it was necessary. They had to learn how to raise those things. And of course, things changed over the years. But
Yeah, but I mean,
they had good meat, and we had a big I don't know if you remember the pasture in front of the house from the back of the
hello?
day long.
Mm.
And
Sorry,
Grandpa had a big corral that held the pigs. He had a big pig house and a corral, and he had quite a farm. It was quite well furnished with buildings, the right buildings. He had a big barn with a haymow, and in that barn there was a place to milk the cows, and then next to it was a place for the pigs, and next to that there was a place for machinery and corn. He had a silo in the barn in that building, and then he had a machine shed where he kept the tractors and trucks.
cool. So he had pigs and chickens and cows. So
Yep.
you
Raised them
guys
all.
were set. You could have lived on that farm forever, really. I mean,
Well, it was funny because in addition to all that, I'm gonna unplug this for a little bit. Grandpa, in addition to all that, they milk cows, so we would take a great big cream can. You remember how big those were? How big
I
were
think
those?
they were about 10 gallons.
Yeah, 10 gallons
Wow.
of cream. So it wouldn't even be refrigerated until the weekend. And then you'd take it to town on Saturday,
yeah.
and you'd get a new sterile cream can to take back home, but it was not refrigerated for the week. It sat on the back porch, and then you filled it up and you took it to town on Saturday and sold it to the dairy.
Again, and then we'd have money again.
Yep. For the week.
Yeah.
And same thing with eggs. We'd pick the eggs, and there must have been, I don't know, 12 dozen, no, more than that, 24 to 48 dozen eggs in a crate. And you'd leave it on the back porch. It wasn't refrigerated. It was shady. It wasn't, it was hot because the weather in Nebraska was always very warm, but it was shady. And so it wasn't in the sun, but it was not refrigerated.
Only shaded.
Yep. It wasn't refrigerated, and it would be fresh enough. I mean, they'd buy it every week and we'd sell it. And that's what everybody ate. And I remember a friend of mine married a man who was a produce buyer for some of the grocery stores in Omaha. And he used to come out to Otterduski's, and our eggs would be there, and he'd pick up the eggs and take them back to the grocery stores in Omaha. And the same thing with cream. He'd pick up the cream at the dairy and take it back and sell it to the city people.
So you guys would go into town with eggs and cream and sell that, or
Absolutely.
for you, or
what?
I mean, who was the gentleman who would sell it for you? I kind of missed that. Like,
Mr. Otterdusky.
So he was kind of a distributor, I guess you could say. Like,
yeah, and actually, Katie's father-in-law ran a dairy, didn't he, Mr. Havelka?
Yeah.
And he sold cream and eggs as well.
Yeah. Okay. So you would sell that in town every week?
Yep.
Yeah.
Every week, after they milked the cows in the evening, we'd go to town. Mom and Daddy would get all dressed up. They never went in their overalls or jeans.
Right.
Mom would, if she would see me now wearing jeans, she would absolutely beat me to death, because you didn't do that as a farmer. You dressed up and went to town so they wouldn't make fun of you. And they were kind of like gentlemen farmers. They always dressed up and they always looked very nice. And we'd go to town, and Mom would go up and down the street and buy whatever we needed for the next week. And Grandma Jonas and I would sit in the car and we'd watch people go by.
Yeah.
And one day she said, kind of like she said about the entertainment industry, when the can't remember the name of the show, the June Taylor dancers would come on, and they'd have very short skirts on and they twirl around. You could see all their legs. Grandma would always say, well, they could put on some clothes already. And we'd sit and watch these people. And one day this girl came past, and she was really kind of a good friend of the family's, but she was way overweight. And she came past the car and she's walking down the street, and Grandma finally said, well, she could wear a girdle. So
Yeah.
Grandma watched, and she loved watching all the people. She'd just sit and watch all the people, and I'd sit with her, keep her
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
And
Cool.
Mom would do all the shopping, and Daddy would go down the bar and have a tomato beer.
Yeah, yeah. So going to town was a big deal.
It was a good deal, you know, and they kept the stores open till, I don't know, 9 or 10 o'clock at night on purpose,
Yeah.
because that's when the farmers came to town and had a night.
Mhm. That was when they did the big business.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm running low on time, but Aunt Katie, it was great talking to you. And so just kind of random thing.
See,
What
I
was,
can't hear him at all.
He said it's great talking to you.
Oh, well, thank you, Orly.
yeah,
It was very nice visiting with you also.
yeah, this was a lot of fun. I didn't know this stuff. Do you
If
remember
we
what
think of
the,
anything else, we'll call you back.
okay, totally. What was the name of your horse when you were a girl? Do you remember the horse that you rode into town?
Oh, we didn't ride a horse into town.
I mean, the horse that you
Uh,
rode to school. I'm sorry.
It was Betsy, she said.
Betsy?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then Daddy had another horse. It was a big pinto horse. Had red, it was white with red spots, kind of red spots, sort of red hair.
Mm.
And his name was Pet. And Pet was called Pet because it was a big horse. It herded cattle. Daddy galloped down the road with it, but you could walk under his belly and he wouldn't move. He wouldn't kick you or and he was very tame. You could put on a saddle and he wouldn't get upset. You could put a bridle on him and he'd be fine. He was a great horse.
Great. Cool.
Yep.
Well, I gotta go, but was good seeing you, Aunt Katie. And Mom, I'll see you, I guess. Oh, you got that sorted out with the airport, Mom?
Yeah, I do. I'll
Okay,
be there at
okay.
1:50, and Chrissy or Robert are gonna pick me up, one of the two.
Okay, great. I'll come up probably Sunday. So,
Okay, sounds good.
okay. It's good to see you
All right,
too,
honey.
Jane.
Okay, take good care.
So good talking to you, Or.
Good talking to you, Katie. This is great.
Bye.
Bye.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take good care. Love you.
Love you
Bye-bye.
too. Yeah, bye-bye.
Well, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was pretty